So we ran a workshop for the funded participants of the CSAE conference the day before the conference, and essentially the purpose of the workshop was to take people through some of the unanswered questions and often opaque things that go on behind the scenes in the research process. So things that you wouldn't learn in the classroom, but also things that you wouldn't be exposed to necessarily just by seeing articles published in top journals. You know, the backstory of these articles, the origin story, are often left unsaid, unarticulated, and often those are the really important bits of research which are most challenging to master. So the way that we did this was Muhammad Meki, another CSAE affiliated associate professor at the university, and I went through some of our own experiences with research projects, told the origin stories, how they came about, what the questions started out as versus what we ended up answering in those papers, how we formed collaborations both with other academics but also with implementation partners, and told a little bit of the stories behind the research, so that people could, you know, draw lessons, think about parallels with their own research, think about what they wanted to get out of a conference like the CSAE conference. It was also an opportunity for our funded participants to bring up things that they were struggling in their own research process, which perhaps we don't experience, or which we hadn't considered as important. So, for instance, in many universities in Africa, there's a requirement to publish before being able to graduate with a PhD, which is just something that's inconceivable in the UK certainly, but that imposes different constraints on research students in Africa than it would to people working on a PhD elsewhere. The CSAE conference is an opportunity for intense exposure to people from across the world, from a variety of different institutions, and some of the highest quality research produced in development economics in the world. And what we wanted to do was prime our participants, our funded participants, to make the most of this opportunity by sort of sharpening the lens of what to pay attention to, how to approach receiving feedback in seminars, how to ask questions and approach potential collaborators, and really leverage the conference for maximum benefit, essentially.